Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, our lovely Coin family. Welcome to our town hall number 62, if I'm not mistaken. Today is the 9th of March. If you'll allow us just a few minutes for people to join us live. As we are missing Rachel and it's the middle of the night for Luke, I'll be posting the announcement to the community. There we go. So we'll be starting the content in just about 2 minutes. Hi, creator. Very nice to see you. Okay, we'll be starting in 1 minute. 1 minute. Hi, Tomo. It's using. Switch to this. Hi, Edwin. Good to see you. We should be ready to start. All right, so without further ado, thank you so much for joining us in this town hall. I'll start taking you through the content, and as usual, we'll end this with an AMA. So first of all, just an overview of what's happening. I am joined, by the way, by classic Frozen fence maker. He is with us, so, and Mark as well. Mark is traveling, but was kind enough to join despite traveling.
Hey,
Am I
everyone.
frozen? But can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
You're just frozen with this kind of a sideways stance. It's interesting. Right. So we're going to go over some dev updates, a little bit of an update on beta testing, some minor marketing updates for now, and then we go over to AMA. First of all, on the dev side, weather has been implemented and deployed. This includes weather forecasts. It's basically based on the spec we explained earlier. So it's a forecast of weather that shows, and then the actual weather being fixed along with the gates announcement, as well as the ground conditions. So that's already in there. We spotted some misalignment with the racing engine. So we're now working on that, but at least on the front end side and on the race announcement side, it's already working as intended. Training has also been implemented and deployed, and anybody who's on the testnet will be able to see the effect. I'll give you guys a very short demo in a little bit. But you get to set your training, and you also get to see the results of training after the horse's age. Breeding function have been implemented and deployed. However, there is some stability issues in that switching to breeding worked, but then for some issuing the breeding vouchers, for example, doesn't work. So we've already had one successful fall, but to extend this to other users, we basically need to fix this issue to find out what's the source of it, and it's in progress right now. We're continuing to test aging and progression of horses, and then we shortened the aging and breeding cycle to 3 days. So every 3 days, the horses should grow by 1 horse year, and any pregnant mares would fall within 3 days, and so on. And this is for testing purposes. On the breeding side, this is just a general explanation. I don't think we need to explain this again, but it's about how the foal creation happens. It depends on the DNAs of both the dam and the sire. It determines the inherited status based on that. And then the foal is minted as an NFT and is airdropped to the mare's or to the mare owner's wallet at the time of birth or at the time of foaling. So this is also already deployed, by the way, but since people can't complete the breeding function, they haven't tested it. But that should go on. Aging was also implemented on February the 3rd. So the first testnet aging event was on March the 1st. And you see that horses should have grown by 1 year as long as they were activated. So on the beta testing side of things, races continue to be scheduled on testnet for beta testing. So we're keeping the schedule live for now. The beta deployment also already features the weather forecasts and the actual weather, training, display of aging, etc., as well as the breeding functionality. Let me take a moment to just show you. So I'm looking at the beta platform, and you can see upcoming races with their forecasts. We have some new, people don't like that I use light mode here, so I'm going to switch it. You can see the forecast with fancy tooltips here. You can see that this next race, which is in 59 minutes, has light rain with a surface of turf. Actually, they're all turf because Yara Garden only uses the turf track. Partly cloudy, sunny, and so on. And then if I go to, and we already have 2 participants in this one, we can look at the nominations. It's Notorious Jayhawker and Longstock is both very active testnet racers. You go to past races, and similarly, you're going to see past races as well as what weather they had. We should show the ground condition here as well. But you can see here the price splits. None of the sites here is new. And then if I go to stables, I just want to show you activated. So if I go to this horse and I look at details, this is where you can switch a horse to breeding. I can go for that in a second. But I can also edit the training program. It's asking me for a signature. So for now, assuming that all training programs are meant to be discrete and only for the horse owner's information. So this currently lies behind a signature. Just so you can see the plan, right? And setting, so it's not only setting, but viewing your training program for horse and setting it currently depends on that. But if we get community feedback that training program should not be secret, though I do hear from people that it should be, then we could remove the one for displaying anyway. So I could I can even actually drag my button if I remember right, or maybe I can't. Sorry, I was wrong. Remember, we had it at some point. So you can set it however you need. If you don't set anything, it doesn't mean that it won't train. So basically, if you don't set anything, it's exactly the same as setting everything. So it just balances everything. But if you only pick one, so that means focus will be on this. It doesn't guarantee that this is the only stat that will grow or the most, but it increases the emphasis on it. And then you can save the plan. And you can save it now for the whole lifespan, or you can just do part and then change it you can change it. It's not final, and you can change it for the future months, basically. So then this was just activated, so it's still a 2-year-old. But let me look at others. This is also 2 years old. So this is a 3-year-old horse. And you can see here in training, in the horse stats, you can see here, I don't know if it's clear enough, I'll try to zoom in. You can see the plus here. So this is the training bonus or advantage that the horse got. And this is how it's displayed. So just so you remember, the training bonus doesn't carry over to breeding. It's only for the horse itself. And I suppose this makes sense. So on the breeding side of things, there is an issue right now where if you try to issue the breeding vouchers, at least for me, it bugs. But we keep you posted as soon as that is fixed. We already have some testers who've switched their horses to breeding and are eager to test this functionality. And we will also then be sending out or sharing around the breeding vouchers for those who want to test. One more thing, sorry, I missed it in the slides, but basically the breeding vouchers today don't have metadata. So it's not very easy to identify which horse it belongs to, etc. But that is also on top of our things to implement. So that will be implemented very soon. It's already just pending the specs to be sent out, and then it will be implemented. All right. So on the marketing side, Mark, maybe if you can just give us a view on what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, not a great amount right now. We are working, we mentioned that before, but obviously right now it's full steam ahead to get us to that mainnet launch, right? We want to get things going in the right direction and build towards that. I'm kind of here mentioning also partially the answer to one of the questions later in the Q&A, right? But we want to make sure everything is working before there is much more marketing stuff happening. But obviously, one of the key things that we will need after the mainnet launch is the good and easy connection and ability to get people into the game in an easy way, which is why we are collaborating with the Nufi wallet. And yeah, that's kind of the key update for today. And I know we'll elaborate a bit more about what else we want to do in terms of an engagement in the coming time, in the current time, right, when we are still developing. But I will leave it for the Q&A part.
Yeah, and also just for clarity, the NuFi wallet, it's an SDK that is for single sign-on, but it doesn't necessarily need you guys to set up a NuFi wallet. It doesn't mean that it's for those who want to sign on without creating a wallet or with picking that wallet. But for those already using, for example, Eternal, it doesn't really change much for that experience, if at all. All right. So on the AML side of things, regarding the new foal, did the similarities, or the new foal, the one that's already born, how did the similarities in trait inheritance pan out, hoping it follows the logical course? Actually, as a matter of fact, that's something that we need to look at more closely. So Kayo's horse was born, but we didn't. I actually, at least, didn't look at its stats.
Well, I can explain again
Sure.
the DNA.
Yeah.
Literally, right now, there's in the simulation, there's 2 strands of DNA, and there's recessive genes and dominant genes, and the DNA literally builds everything. So the color, the patterns, on so the coat, basically the pattern, the spots, the stats, the sex, so everything just comes out of the DNA. So it's just literally a simulation of what goes on in real life. So you've got two strands and dominant and recessive genes, and when you breed, like in real life, you split the DNA in two strands and you give one of the strand, and both the sire and the dam do this. So you get a random strand of DNA, and then you recombine, and there's for each chromosome, and then you might have a mutations. There's a rare amount of mutation that could happen on any of the genes, and this simply generates a new DNA, a fully new combination of the DNA, and the new DNA just spits out basically everything. So the color, the patterns, and the stats of your new foal, but it's based on the chromosomes of the parents and a random combination of the two strands of each chromosome. So it's definitely inheritance, and there's recessive genes and dominant genes. So it should behave like a valid simulation of what you expect.
Yeah, and we'll see this more in action as we have more people breeding. I think you'll get a first-hand experience. Well, not really first-hand experience. You're not the horse, but first-hand stable owner experience of seeing how that breeding outcome looks like. A question or suggestion from Fox's table: should we consider the minimum breeding age for equine horses? Fox's table suggests moving the age to 4, 5, or 6 years. It's a valid suggestion. I think most who tend towards more realistic experience favor older breeding age, and maybe even a shorter lifespan was suggested at some point, as this 18-year span is a bit long, I would say, to an extent. We kind of favored a bit more of a kind of a game-like experience to some extent, without really fully, let's say, destroying the realistic aspect. But it's well noted. I think it's worth keeping in mind. For us, it's not a very complicated switch if we choose to do so from a game design perspective. Let us think about it. But if anybody from the community thinks the same or otherwise, I'm always happy to hear what the community thinks. And thank you so much, Fox's Tables, for the suggestion. Question: will Equine be live for this year's Kentucky Derby, which is, I believe, the 3rd of May? Not sure if this is possible, but this would really help catch eyes if it was. I think a marketing campaign around the Kentucky Derby and the release is interesting. I think it is within reach to launch mainnet in May, not out of reach, as we have almost all of the critical features already implemented and deployed. Maybe not the most stable. There are still a few fixes required, etc. But I am not aware of any significant, let's say, feature that is missing today, aside from the stability, which is important. So I think the theme of the game this period is basically it's a road to mainnet kind of period where we just want everything to be clean and polished, deployed correctly, stable, works as intended for everyone. And we are skipping some of the user experience improvements. We are skipping some of the user friendliness that's required for the mainnet first day of release, but then it will be a gradual, basically, work of improvement. But for the mainnet release, we want everything that's within the feature lock, let's say, that we set for the mainnet to be functional and then to be stable. So as in, it's not working today and not working 5 minutes later. We want things to be fairly reliable for the mainnet release. I hope this answers your question. So it's not out of reach. I think by April, we have a much clearer picture whether we can aim for May. What's the team planning for Discord and community engagement? Mark, I'll leave it to you. But before that, I'll just say, I think one of the main themes is as breeding is rolled out and as the testnet users have access to breeding and start producing foals, and with the 3-day aging cycle, these foals may grow fairly quickly. The intention is actually for onboarding more users onto testnet and then we leave this also to the community to also support in that, and that it will be in the testnet users' hands to breed foals, but then also to quote unquote recruit people to actually receive those testnet horses if they wish to share them, and bring more people on board. And then we'll support with bringing them onto the beta channels, and then we see how we can grow that community in terms of active users versus also active horses. And it's almost like a trial for how that feels in a testnet environment. Mark, I'm sorry if I have a bad habit of saying everything instead of everyone.
It's okay. I think you said the core of it, but I would also maybe acknowledge here that we do realize that right now it's been quiet. I think it's a matter of few things. We've seen quite a good movement when the testnets were launched and quite a lot of engagement. Things slowed down a bit when we got those bigger issues for a while. But obviously, as we are bringing more of those functions live in the testnet, we do hope that testnet players come to help us test it, right? Help to find all the issues that will push us towards the mainnet. And as mentioned, with the breeding, we'll have a lot of new horses. If you are a testnet player, would be awesome if you can help us figure out if you have people that you think could join, you could share the horses with. Obviously, we will empower that by ensuring that they get the access as needed. And as we get to mainnet, right, like this is where we obviously want to, we always talked about it, right, having a much bigger event, big competition with some solid prizes to get the eyes on it, collaborate with, we still have a lot of friends within the crypto, right, collaborate, build the eyes back on us. There is a question that's kind of a response to this from Utera77. Do you think this downtrend in crypto market will hurt the number of people who will be playing the game? I think it depends how we look at this current situation, because we are in a very weird place, right? Where on paper we should be actually going up, given no matter where you stand on the political side, but obviously US is clearly declaring quite a lot of interest in crypto, including Cardano more specifically, which, yeah, if we're talking about the downtrend, Cardano is up still good 40-50% versus whether it was, a week ago, or slightly more than a week ago. So I would say that we, of course, cannot predict it, right? Like things are going a little bit weird, but I would say that there seem to be a bit extra eyes on Cardano currently, which could definitely help. Obviously, if by May things go not the way that we would think they could go, given all the interest in crypto right now from the governmental institutions, yeah, things might not immediately go well, right? Like it's not something we can control. So we want to focus, like the way I think I look at all this is we should focus on things we can control, right? We can control people we have. We can control making sure that we keep them engaged. We get the game to the place where they can play. And then we can start working on bringing more people one way or another, right? And if by then crypto suddenly drops 50%, that doesn't change the functionality of the game, right? Like it's still gonna be there. Everything should be working, and if the game is fun, we should be able to bring people in. Yeah, of course, again, that assumes the focus, which was always the case for us, right? Like we wanted people to enjoy the game. The crypto aspect, the winning aspect, the money aspect is, of course, is there. We want it, right? People want it, but ultimately it's about getting the game that people have fun with.
Yeah, I think we've done. Thank you, Mark, for putting it very well. I think it's we've done as much as we can to ensure that the crypto or the blockchain layer of the game is mainly a transaction layer and ownership and smart contract layer. that drives, let's say, that part of the game, whereas the actual value of the platform is actually the functionality in it. So as long as it functions, where you can have horses, you can race them, you can enjoy that aspect, and you can breed and you can do all of that, then as long as crypto is, or the crypto layer or the Cardano layer is functioning, as in it provides you that utility, then it's doing what's intended. Whether the price of ADA on that day is $1 or $5 or 20 cents, for us, as long as it functions, then it is successful in providing what it needs to provide for a coin. Yes, there is an impact on maybe popularity. Our discussions when we share it with people outside who either know or don't know Cardano or crypto. But if you talk about, again, our road to let's say post mainnet, but the actual market, let's say growth or user acquisition plan, and you talk about total addressable market, our total addressable market within Cardano is the users of Cardano. And yes, that does change depending on how the market lives, but the order of magnitude won't change. And today, our active mainnet players, yes, we did sell 14,000 horse NFT bundles. We do have about 3,000, we've hovered between 3,000 and 4,000 unique wallets holding from the Cardano total addressable market. But from a gameplay perspective, today we have 0 players on mainnet, right? So it only grows from there. So we're gonna have from 0 is to grow to 50 or 100 or 500 or 1,000 users, and that's only within the total addressable market, of Cardano. We jump to stage 2, and that's the whole crypto space. So when we have more multi-chain or cross-chain connections possible, so we can play the game using, for example, using MetaMask or using Phantom Wallet, etc., and it's seamless, then your total addressable market suddenly grows, and then that subset also becomes larger. And then the moment we have a seamless Web2 integration and people can just join, then your total addressable market is just massive. You have all the racing enthusiasts, you have all the gaming enthusiasts, and I think, yes, the crypto market position as an overall has an impact, I'd say, on the approachability of the game, maybe, or etc. But I don't think it would make or break it at this stage, unless, for example, regulation goes so far south that people are no longer able to use crypto, and fiat on and off ramps are closed down, and like in major, let's say, crypto using countries, etc. That is maybe a real risk. But aside from that, I think we should be fine. So thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, Fensmaker. Thank you, Marek, for joining me here on the stream. I apologize, I appreciate, everyone's audience. I apologize, I'm a little bit tired as I'm fasting and it's been a long day. But I wish you all the best. I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend, and we'll keep you guys posted on the updates, and we look forward to adding more users on testnet and making sure everything is as stable as possible as we go to mainnet. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one, everyone.